So I know that you can find a lot of videos online about how to create a Google form and a Google form quiz. So I'm not going to make one of those videos. I'm going to show you some things that I think are helpful from my experience. A lot of districts like Google. They like Google Classroom. They like Google Drive. So it makes sense that we would look at forms as a way of incorporating a formative or a summative assessment in our classroom. So I'm in docs.google.com. I'm opening up forms. I'm going to start a blank one. So in my classroom, which I did flip one of my classrooms last year, the title of that form would have been something like Lesson 3-12 Gate Check. And you'll learn more about what a gate check is in the next module. All students will be able to do this thing that is our objective. Okay, what I always put as the first question is what is your first name? It automatically changed from multiple choice to short answer. Beautiful. What is your last name? The reason why I do this is because at the end, when you can export all of the results of your form, this will create two columns that allow you to filter results like you learned in Module 1 and like you practiced earlier in this module. So by creating those different categories, you have more liberty. Now, if you're going to turn this into a quiz where they sign in with a student email account, like in SUSD, all students have an SUSD Gmail account that they could sign in with, then this wouldn't necessarily be needed. However, I think it's easier because I don't know everyone's email address and I can't really filter it very easily that way to create two categories here. You could even add what period are you in so that we can dissect it by class. And just a reminder, I don't have a third period, that's why I skipped it. Okay, so I would start with all of your assessments. I would start with those 3 questions. So I cut away from the Google form that I was making with you a second ago to one that I'd already made just so we can kind of look at the different types of questions. So this was my earlier attempts at making Google Forms, and you'll notice that I have a question with what is your name, and that would be full name. If I could go back and change that, which when I have time I will, I would change it to last name and first name so I could filter it alphabetically like my grade book. Here's an example of a question that is checkboxes. So for this, it's select all that apply. This one's multiple choice, and then this one is short answer. Now I have under settings this marked as a quiz. So this is going to be a quiz. And when it is a quiz, you can assign point values and correct answers. So let me show you what that looks like. Take a look at this question. If I click over to the answer key, I've already pre-selected which answers are correct, and I've given it 1 point. Very straightforward. The student has to get them all exactly like that. Let's take a look at the next question, answer key. There is 1 answer. I've designated 0 points to this. I think that actually should be 1, so I'm going to change it right now. This, I've designated the answer, and it's worth 1 point. And here we have short answer, and so the students are actually typing in their answer. Now, because I've made this a quiz, I have to provide an answer key, okay? I have to provide an answer key, and I can edit it now, right now, if I wanted to. When students take this and they submit their answers, it goes over into the Responses tab, and I can export these into a Google Sheet, which is an Excel spreadsheet. I can take a look right here at the answers, or I can export them. So I want to bring up one particular thing. First off, right here I've hidden a column. That's where the student names are. Here I have all the answers listed, and here are their scores. So the great thing about a Google form, making it a quiz, is that it will grade the answers. Okay, so this was the first time that these students had seen this concept. And as you can see, the scores are all over the place. One thing that may be throwing it off is that fourth question, because I had to input a correct answer in the answer key. However, I would accept a number of these. Like, even though I'm not a fan of using X for times, right now it's just about them learning the concept. I absolutely would accept it. Here, this person used an asterisk. I would accept it. This person used parentheses. I would accept it. So I do need to be careful, because when I do an open-ended question and making it a quiz with an answer key, I may be marking students wrong when they're not wrong. So I would have to go through and manually change the ones as I check this fourth question. So as the creator of that Google Form quiz, you'd want to be mindful of that. Something that's really cool also is that the timestamp of when these students take the Google Form quiz comes up for you. I once had a student bring a progress report to me and say, "Miss K, I did this gate check. I don't know why it's saying I didn't." And I said, "Oh my gosh, let's take a look." And lo and behold, they had done it the next day during their TA period, because they had forgotten about it, and they didn't realize that it was timestamped. So they were saying, "Oh no, I did it before I came to class." Blah, blah. I will also want to show you what a Google form could look like if it wasn't necessarily straightforward answer this question. So as a part of my thesis on the flipped classroom, I wanted to get student feedback. And so these are not content questions. So right here you can see that there's like an opinion question and a scale, and then here same thing, and then an open-ended question again. And I've exported those responses already by going to the response tab and hitting this, and those are here. So the same idea, but this one I didn't put the students' names on it. I didn't ask them that question because I didn't want them to feel like if they gave me honest feedback that I would hold it against them.